I feel so uncomfortable right now because the study room I'm in right now, like people can see me. Um, it has big windows, so like people can see me. And it makes me really uncomfortable about. I look crazy. You look crazy when you record videos and people don't know who you're talking to, but who cares, you know? I wasn't planning on. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I wasn't planning on doing a video, but the Lord had me watching a series of videos, and I felt like prompted to do a video, particularly on this older um a couple like Reggie and Kelley Steele, a pastoring couple, went on Dear Future Wifey podcast and told their ridiculous, like just like incredibly cringy and pain filled story about how the Lord brought them together. And it's been a while. It has to have been about 2 months actually since that video came out. And today I saw a video. I was watching something like clips from like Law and Order, organized crime or something like that. And I saw the blow and I was like, oh, I know what she's talking about. Like somebody was giving their commentary. I watched the video and I was just like seeing clips from it. I'm like, eh. Okay, Let me start again. Um, Earlier today, I was watching this video. I've been watching a lot of relationship videos, especially like Christian couple relationship videos lately. And one that I watched was a couple, and they're about to get married later this year. I'm subscribed to them and everything. The Robertsons or something like that. They were talking about their blended family of 9 kids. He was talking about how he had um 8 kids from a previous relationships with multiple women, and talking about how that came to be, how he was out a whoring and ended up having all of these babies by all of these women, but also said that he's regretful of the way that he had his kids, not regretful of his kids, and that like giving his life to the Lord and just submitting to God's will led to a beautiful relationship with his fiance, who is soon to be his wife. They're getting married next month, I'm pretty sure. So like that was beautiful and that was amazing, but it was also horrifying because 8 kids, my G, 8 freaking kids, that's a lot of kids to have. And I actually did a video about that, about having kids and just like recklessly bringing them into this world without responsibility, right? In the mix, without God in the midst of that, like, which brings about chaos and confusion. Not to judge people with a whole bunch of kids, but there is a irresponsibility there. And as a child who had a father who was a rolling stone, and as a child who had a mother who allowed herself to be impregnated by that said rolling stone, like we were the first kids that he had. I'm his second oldest child, at least I think I'm his second oldest child, because he's for the streets, where he was for the streets. Hopefully, he gave his life to the Lord, and in his old age, he's a better man. I don't know. So I was watching that. Then I watched another video where a lady was talking about, and within that video, let's go back to the Robertsons. She was talking about like, I'm not telling other women that you have to get with a man with a whole bunch of kids, but kids. What I'm saying is be open. Like when I first heard he had 8 kids, I had like reservations, but be open to what God has for you. That led me to thinking about another video that I saw earlier, like, and saved from Instagram, where a lady was talking about how her husband wasn't her type. When they initially met, she wasn't dogging him or saying that he was ugly, or saying that she was just saying that he wasn't physically and even personality wise, very much personality wise, he didn't bring her the same comfort that she got from the type of men that she used to date. Meaning she was used to men who displayed a certain toxicity, and he didn't bring that to the relationship, and it was God growing her through her relationship with him, right? They got together and they have had like I don't know, over a decade's worth of ups and downs. Of course, any relationship has that, but not this toxic foolishness that you see in the video with Reggie and Kelley Steele. I'm not trying to down them or anything else like that, but that video is very triggering. And I actually, like, the Lord, when I first saw the video, because I was like thinking of it from the lens of the Lord told me who my spouse is going to be. What if it's like this? Because I come from, like, if you watch my previous videos, I detailed thoroughly in 2 videos my childhood trauma. So my fear is in a relationship, getting in a relationship with a man who's going to be abusive towards me and giving my children the type of childhood that my parents gave me. I can't do that. Us giving them, actually, it wouldn't be only one person. The onus wouldn't be only on me. And so I really don't want to do that. And so I was going to watch the video based upon that fear and, like, okay, this is what I need to look out for, and there's no way, and bringing on this negativity into what God has told me about, like, my future husband and, my future marriage. But, like, I watched it, and I don't know, maybe the Holy Spirit dulled my senses because I was bored out of my mind watching that video. Like, I couldn't pay attention to it. I was on my phone looking at something else, and I was just like, I would just zone out. So I just stopped watching it. So fast forward to today, and the video came up, and I wasn't really interested in it because I was like, okay, I know that's the type of relationship that God does not have for me. But I felt compelled to watch this lady's commentary, and I didn't finish the video or anything. She didn't have anything amazingly insightful to say. Nothing against her, but I've heard it before, and I believe the same things that she's saying, so it's just like nothing new. But I just like, just watching it just brought me to the point that I saw another video. I'm referencing a lot of videos. I really gotta put, like, this stuff in. I gotta do an outline to make it more clear. But I saw another video because I was having negative thoughts, right? About, like, future husband, future marriage, that type of thing. And in this video, the lady was saying, just giving encouragement. She was like, even when you don't see anything happening, even when you don't see the process moving along, right? God is still working behind the scenes, and you have to see it before you see it. You have to see yourself in a good marriage, and the Lord would not allow you to get into a marriage or any relationship that He has ordained and you suffer and you go through all of this. Like, that's not what He has for you and what He wants for you. And yet we do enter into relationships that God has ordained. And sometimes it does happen because the person has free will. We know that to be true. But we also know that we have a loving and compassionate Father who will always provide for us a means of escape. You can't control somebody else's action. The only thing you can do is listen to the Father and let Him guide you in what you need to do and how you need to react and how you need to behave, and what you need to speak over your future relationships, and what you need to bring, how you need to develop, how you need to grow, and everything else, and what actually is okay for you to go through. Sometimes you're going to go through difficult times, and that's life. I think we are very soft in the US of A, whereas other places around the world, like, they're used to a discomfort that we don't know anything about. And I'm not saying that people in the US of A haven't gone through some things. I've gone through some things and haven't, like, been hurt and harmed and stuff, but we have like a cushion for our behinds. A lot of us, we have a lot of resources, even in terms of, like, being homeless. There's a lot of resources, a lot of places where I can go get a shower. I'm steadily showering, and I'm just saying, like, as a homeless person, where any one of us can go and get a shower, where we can go and get food, where we can go and get clothing, where we can go and get all of these things, and places around the world that is not the case. And so we're gonna go through something, just like any healthy relationship is gonna have ups and downs, but it shouldn't be the pit of hell. In regards to the video, doing commentary about Reggie and Kelley Steele in the video they did with Dear Future Wifey podcast with Terrace, one of the clips she showed was from a member of their church, and the lady said the Lord led her to that church. And I'm not doubting that that could be the truth. And I say this because the God is not always going to lead you to a place that's like the most positive experience initially, but you can glean and gain something out of that experience that's going to lead you to something better, or lead you to have a perspective that he needs you to have in order to do something for his kingdom. Let me say it again. Sometimes the Lord will lead you to places and positions and to people that are not positive on the front end. From what you can see, it's not a positive situation, right? I'm in a homeless shelter. The Lord led me to Texas, and he led me to be in this situation, but right, but this is not where the buck stops, because he's leading me to this position to have a certain perspective, to grow spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, etc., so that I can be in position for what he has for me to do in the future, so that there's a glorious testimony of his goodness and his greatness. And it's not something that I've heard from my grandmama and I heard from people in the church or anything else like that, but it's something that I have witnessed myself. The verses coming alive to me, because you can look, you can hear what David has to say, you can hear what Paul has to say, but it's like it doesn't become real to you until you actually go through it and you see how it's alive and breathing, and it's how it's that double-edged sword, right? So she said she goes to that church, and she said he makes these types of, like in the video, her laughing, him talking about how he dogged her out, her talking about how he dogged her out, him laughing. It's just like, it's cringy. And she says these types of incidents happen, not incidents, these types of, like, the way that he talks about his wife and the way he talks about their relationship happen all the time. And she says, like, he's like blaming her and calling her stupid for being with him. And I'm like, pray for sis, because your self-esteem is still incredibly low, and have the nerve and audacity to say that's why you single, because you don't want to go through nothing. Honey, it's not that people, you know what I'm saying, some people don't want to go through anything, but it's not that people aren't willing to go through the fire with somebody, or maybe not even go through the fire, but just like go through it with somebody, because you're gonna go through stuff anyway. Your life is going to have ups and downs anyway. There are gonna be things that break down anyway. Sometimes you're gonna lose your job, and you're gonna have financial constraints. You know, we know that that's going to happen. Sometimes you're going to be like, people are gonna get ill. Sometimes things are going to happen. But this foolishness right here, this is not of the Lord. You talking crazy about the woman who stayed with you? All the women you cheated on her, where are they, sir? When you're sick and in the hospital, are they visiting you? Are they gonna pay the bills while you laid up? Are they gonna, like, it's crazy to me. It's just like I was thinking earlier about the whole, I feel like there's two types of people, right? There's the person who's like, this person isn't really my type, what I'm used to, but guess what? My type has not worked out for me, and honestly, I'm ready to give something else another try. And this person has a good heart, and this person is attractive. He's just not, or she's just not what I'm used to in terms of like who I'm attracted to. So let me give them a chance. Let me like open myself up to this. I prayed about it, and the Lord has told me, hey, yes, give it a chance. Yes, Lord is giving me green lights the whole entire way. No yellow, no red, just green lights going down this journey, going down this road, this journey with this person. So let me try. And then it blossoms into a beautiful relationship. Like the video I saw on Instagram, I think it's called The Gross Way. That's the family. Please show them some love. But like, it's that, and then it's the person who is upset and angry and frustrated and just a miserable person, just very rude, and has to point out to their spouse that, oh, you were never my type. You were never the woman I wanted to be with, or the man I wanted to be with. You a fool for being with me. And they will drag you down. They will run you into the ground, into the grave if you let them. And that's how you know, I feel, whether it's from God or if it's not. If it's from God, it's going to be a blessing. And if it becomes something that the Lord does not ordain any longer, He will give you a means of escape from that thing. That's how you know. If it's not of God, honey, if the relationship is from God, it is loving and it's caring and it's not perfect. There are kinks and knots that have to be ironed out, but we are not perfect either. It is meant to grow us and strengthen us, but give us love and protection and give us that safety net. If it is not from God, it is going to be painful, and mostly painful. The person is going to be irrationally angry with you, blaming you for staying in a relationship, not willing to deal with their guilt for how they do you, how they treat you. And if you are a believer, then you'll probably, like, if and you want to stay in that relationship for whatever reason, you'll probably do everything in your power, read every Bible verse with a skewed sort of point of view to stay in that relationship. And we've seen that way too often. Staying in relationships longer than you should have. Boyfriends who should have stayed boyfriends and you should have married somebody else. I wonder if God was like standing in the wings like, you know what? I got this person for you, Kelley. I got this person. I got Brian over here. He's a good man, Savannah. A good man. A real good man. And he's kind, he's loving, he has a heart for me, and he may not be your type, but he's going to love you the way I believe you deserve to be loved. It's not just like to Kelley Steele, like I feel for her. Like I think her saying, oh, that's why you single, I think that was her defense mechanism. Because I think deep down inside she knows that she deserves better. But she also feels like there's this satanic presence telling her in her head, telling her, the devil is whispering to her that you don't. This is what you deserve. And why would you give him up? You know, because for some other woman to benefit off of what, let her benefit. Because, child, if the benefit is low self-esteem, if the benefit is you're talking crazy to me, emotional, verbal abuse, perhaps you can't tell me when no physical abuse, all of the cheating, all of the backbiting, all of the jokes made in my face and to my neck. Like, listen, I pray the Lord gets her out of that relationship, because one day she will snap and it will not be pretty. Either she's going to snap or she's going to enter into the grave earlier than she should behind this man who is not worth it. We're all children of God, but like, come on, let's just be honest. Some people are not worth having a relationship with, not worth being around, not worth loving and interacting with. And to sit up here and say, oh, well, I was a good father, I was just a terrible husband. You can't be a good father and a terrible husband, because your children, you're setting them up for those types of relationships. You're setting up your sons and your daughters to either be abusive, cheating, manipulators, gaslighters, just mean-spirited jerks, or you're setting them up to be the victim of those type of people, or both. So I'll say all that to say, I didn't even know I was going to say that in this video. I really do pray for her. Like, I'm really going to start praying for her, that she sees her worth in Christ, really truly sees it, and that she leaves that man behind, because there's no way that he should be talking to her that way. There's no way that a man of God would be. What does the Bible say? That your prayers won't be heard if you don't, like, let me find that verse. Like, you know what, let me not even, like, I don't even have to find it. The Lord will not hear your prayers if you don't honor, love your wife. That is a commandment. Love your wife like Jesus loved the church. I never heard Jesus speak such negative things, such awful things, such hateful things about the church, about his bride. Then why would you as a husband do that? And of course, like women, we shouldn't be doing it either. You shouldn't be doing that to your husband, speaking down on him, not honoring him, not respecting him the way that the Bible tells us to respect our husbands. Yeah, I don't know. I just think that we should pray, like, about their relationship, and pray that like we gravitate, like we see our worth in the Lord, so and we let him lead. Like it's really important that he leads us to our spouse, because we would choose wrong. We would choose the wrong person. We will like gravitate towards the wrong type of people. We will fall in love with the wrong things, usually something below the waist, and we will end up in situations where we are broken and burned. And unfortunately, like Kelley Steele, well, who's gonna want me now? I'm so old. It's not old. Like the couple I was talking about earlier, the Robertsons, they're not old, but they are an older couple. She's like 50, and I think he's like 48. They found love in their late 40s. So why can't she? She's got to be around their age. It's really not over until God says it's over, and God has to do the choosing. And I know that there are some Christians out here who say that, like, oh, God doesn't choose your mate. I beg to differ. How many of us would be like in her same position? And it's not to judge her, but be in her same position if it hadn't been for the grace of God. So, one, let God choose. Two, let go of your type. Three, don't let no man, no woman, no child dog you out like that. Have so too much respect for the God, the creator of the universe, the creator of all things, the person who in him we like move in. Okay, like in him we move, we child. I gotta find that verse. In God we move and have our being, and have our being. Let's see. Sorry, I'm just, for in him we live and move and have our being. We are because he is. How to, if you don't like yourself, if you don't respect yourself, learn to like and love God so much, respect him so much that you see his image within you, and then that will help you to love yourself, right? And then you won't, like, you don't deal with foolishness when you know whose you are. You don't deal with foolish, at least not too long. Like, let me tell you this, and then I'm gonna be done. I used to allow people to mistreat me in relationships all the time, talk down to me, act crazy towards me. That's what I was used to, habituation. Um, but after going through that, after having a breakup, after being estranged from family members who did that, after a while, like the Lord started and starting my relationship with him, like everything was torn away from me, and I started my relationship with him, like things started happening. Like he would tell me when somebody, I don't need to be in a relationship with this person, and he would actually make it a reality that that would not happen. um Even earlier to like earlier this week, I met this girl and we sat down at the table. We were both getting services for something at like a day center for like homeless people. And I remember in the midst of talking to her, the Lord just kind of like whispered in my ear, like, y'all are not gonna be friends. Like, y'all are not going to be cool. This is not gonna turn into a relationship. And I haven't seen her in a couple of days, and I saw her today, and I was like, hey, how you doing? She was like, hey, and there was no like connection. There was like no, what I'm saying, trying to be connected or anything else like that. There was nothing that brought us together. So I don't know. I just think that we need to let God do the choosing. We need to walk away when he tells us to walk away. We need to be obedient. We need to put him first. We need to know that in him we live and move and have our being. And what is that verse? Acts 17:28. And we need to just like, I don't know, pray for the people who are in relationships that are not healthy. Because why would God ordain you to be in a relationship with a man who talking to you crazy like that? Who makes jokes about you? Who calls you stupid for being with him? That's a self-drag. Because if I'm stupid for being with you, then you ain't much of anything. You know you're trash for your behavior. You know that, like, anyway. So that's all I wanted to say really quickly. 25 minutes, so I guess that's quick for me. But yeah, I just pray for Kelley Steele and pray for any woman or man who's in a relationship talking about God said stay with him and he's dogging her out, or God said stay with her and she putting hands on him. Sometimes church folks be lying. A lot of times, these people are just wolves in sheep's clothing. So that's all I have to say. Goodbye.